Welcome to the third episode of Hygiene Theory. Hygiene Theory is a podcast series of short interviews around hygiene and infection control in the world of healthcare. This is a podcast where we discuss how improved hygiene practices in various settings can help prevent the spread of germs. Our guest today is Dr. Gayatri. Dr. Gayatri has served as a civil surgeon in the field of obstetrics and gynecology. She has also served as specialist officer and nodal officer for National Health Mission at Andhra Pradesh Vaidya Vidhana Parishad. Over 30 years of her services, she has conducted several medical camps to serve the underprivileged people. Dr. Gayatri, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Ma'am, so basic theme of the this episode is the importance of hygiene in a labor room. You have spent close to 30 years in the labor room, and you understand better than anyone with respect to what kind of infections are spreading in the labor room. So we will start with, what are these hospital acquired infections and what are the types of infections that we usually see in labor room?
I am Dr. Gayatri. Hi to everyone. When we are talking about the infections in the hospitals, really it's a shameful thing, because when the patients are coming to the hospital means they should get treatment and they should get well, and they should go out of the hospital. But unfortunately, some of the patients are getting other infections from the hospitals because of the unhygienic conditions of the environment, or personal hygiene was not there. And the medical personnel also, they're not looking into that matter. Very keen observations is not there, because the doctors and other medical personnel are very busy with the patients, admissions, treatments, and especially in the labor room, because of the population of India. Many deliveries they are attending. So they are having least bother or least thinking about the environment conditions and all those things. So the acquired infections, like usually in the nosocomial infections, they'll call it. Staphylococcal infection is more in the hospitals.
Okay.
That is the skin infections and boils and all those things.
Okay.
And one more thing, even after the surgery also, we see many cases like that. Pseudomonas fungal infections and all those things, very dangerous things. When we are taking a case, we have to give equal importance to the treatment as well as the environment sterile conditions also. Unless we treat the environment first, we cannot treat the patient. This is my opinion. Because whatever the treatment you are giving and how many days the patients are going to stay in the hospital is not the criteria. But how clean and how sterile it is, that is the important.
Right.
That's why everybody should have consent towards the environment cleanliness also. That's my observation.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask you that in your 30 years of experience in the labor room, how many deliveries used to happen every single day? Like on an average, how many deliveries used to happen there?
It depends upon the type of hospital. Okay. If it is a community health center, daily 3 or 4 or something like that. Okay. And if it is area hospital, some 8, 10 like that. And in a district hospital also 10, more than 10 like that. Okay. Teaching hospitals, no limit. 50 to 100 may take place.
It's
per very
day.
Big, yeah.
That's and, per day. Okay.
We have come across in one of my night duties, I attended 10 deliveries among 50 deliveries.
My God.
I attended personally.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Much of, because of our Indian population.
That's there. So, ma'am, in these, let's say on an average, there are 20 deliveries. And out of that, you also mentioned about that there are several types of infection which occur in the labor room. So in your experience, is this kind of data with respect to, that these babies were infected? Is there a data there, or the current system just doesn't care enough about these infections happening? Or is there someone monitoring these infections?
Actually, when we are working in the hospitals, especially I worked in the government hospital.
Okay.
As a clinician, I don't have any data, but we did a small research like when I was working in the head office administration, we did a small research like how the labor room is there, what are the infections are there, whether infections are there or not, whether it's affecting the baby, mother or not. We did a small research. In that, we shocked to see that the infection is it's carrying to the baby. Why? How we come to the conclusion? They have started newborn. It is newborn care centers, SNCU, special newborn care centers or sick newborn care centers. In that, the babies from the hospital they will be admitted, and from the outside the hospital also they will be admitted. So we did a small research on that. Which type of baby means from which place the babies are coming, and the hospital-born babies or from the society, from outside the hospital. That means from the home delivery or from other hospitals. So which type, which place the babies are getting more infection, we wanted to know that one. So when we did a small research, to our surprise, in one study, inborn infections are more. That means in a hospital labor room, the baby born, no, those babies show more infections. That means then we started to concentrate on that labor room, because the home deliveries are less infected and the other hospitals are less infected. Maybe there may be other reason also, because when compared to other home delivery, 1 or 2 deliveries, that's all, 1 delivery. Right. Or other hospitals, nursing homes or institutes, very few, 2 or 3 per day. But in the government hospitals, maybe more deliveries, because maybe that may be the one of the reasons also. So we concentrated on the labor rooms. So we had taken swabs in the labor room, for 6 corners, floor, roof, and 4 walls. We had taken swabs and we sent for culture. So there are the organisms, we found that. So then we concentrate on the labor room. We have formulated some protocols. Already some protocols are there, thinking that we are giving safe delivery, like safe delivery and safe childbirth, and giving training to the chained dies, and how to handle the baby immediately after the birth, how to swaddle, and how to handle the baby, and how to keep the baby to the mother. All these things within clean conditions we are doing, because taking the baby in one towel, clean with another towel, and keeping that baby to the mother, that's one thing. And wearing the gloves everywhere, and cleaning the hands every time whenever they touch the patient or mother, and changing the soiled linen from the mother during the labor, removing that every time, and cleaning the floor of the labor room 2 or 3 times like that. And, and handling the baby also immediately after birth. All these protocols are there already, but in spite of that, why this infection rate is more in the labor rooms in our research, we got a doubt about. So we had to do something else about this. So the government given the third party, they have been given training how to clean the corridors, wardrooms, and including the labor rooms. 3 shifts they have given, many times cleaning the floor or walls or corridors and all this. Cleaning many times by trained class 4 employees. We gave training how to clean the blood drops also, how to that is waste management, that also we have given for them training. In spite of all those things, there is some infection is there. So something else we had to do. For this cleaning purpose, they are using so many disinfectants. From our student days, we have read many things in the books also. Yes. On the floor, on the air, and all those things. But the problem is, they can clean the floor. They can clean the things, BP apparatus or stand or table or something like that. Surfaces they can clean with those things. And in the air, they cannot disinfectant with the disinfectant. They cannot do, because that may harm the patients.
Right.
when they
Right.
breathe in, that may give some harmful this thing.
So these,
So what they are doing?
Ma'am, sorry to interject. So when you mention that the disinfectants, are these the chemical disinfectants that you're talking about that can't be used for air
Yeah.
disinfection?
Yeah, from age-old, this is the chemical disinfectants.
Okay.
Like even in the theaters also, we used to do the chemical disinfectant, formaldehyde, or sometimes for the equipment, Savlons.
Okay.
And sometimes after that, UV lamps or some of the things they have come up in the theaters, only in the theaters, not in the wards or anywhere.
Right.
Even not only that, the using the disinfectant is not the only thing.
Right.
How much concentration they are using, how many times they are using, what is the potency of that, everything counts. And whether it is harmful to the patient or not, that's also important.
Right.
So because
Right.
this thing, if, that touches the patient, it may harm them also. So all these to be taken into the consideration while giving a clean environment. Not only the protocols, even the environment cleaning also needed in the labor rooms especially, because that is a place where the baby first time takes a breath and first it's open his eyes to see the world. So in the special sick newborn units or special newborn care units, when we saw that the infection is in the babies, we felt very sorry about it. Because as soon as they born, they are getting the infection, means it's something shameful, this thing on the part of the doctors or on the part of the modern medicine.
Right.
So whenever the first newborn baby getting infection means this is something hard to digest, because the health status of a country or the what we call the development of the country mainly depends upon the IMR.
Yes.
Infant mortality rate.
Yes.
When it is reducing a single digit, then only you can say it's a developed country.
Right. Right. So, ma'am,
so we had to,
with respect to these factors affecting the hospital-acquired infections, right? There comes a role of environmental hygiene, then there comes a role of personal hygiene. I believe that to a certain extent, all the doctors take care of the personal hygiene and all the healthcare professionals also take care of the personal hygiene. They do sanitize their hands, they do keep washing their hands frequently. But is it right to assume that the environmental hygiene is somewhat, compromised?
Yeah, in the beginning days, nobody, thought of this environmental hygiene more. What we also, of course, we also pass through this phase. We used to clean our hands by dipping our hands in a bowl of that Dettol water, something like that, in the beginning stages. But of course, that was changed day by day. And all the doctors, whenever they are touching the patient, they have to clean their hands, because we should not, encourage the cross infection from patient to patient. We had to be very clean, and the patients also have to be clean. And when it occurs, when the environment, total environment is sterile, we need not worry about, giving the infection from one patient to another patient. When the entire environment is clean.
Yes.
For that, we had to regularly, twice or thrice, we had to clean the corridors, or spray or swabbing with very good disinfectant.
Right. Ma'am, so with respect to, if you were to think about all the factors affecting the hospital-acquired infections, somewhere down the line, there is this misalignment of resources, I believe. Is it that there is very less manpower? While reading about hospital-acquired infections, I read that there is a lot of, there is very scarce amount of manpower in India right now. Be it the manpower or be it the budget allotted for infection control. Or then the question becomes that, is there any specific budget allotted for infection control at these government hospitals?
Yeah, there are head of accounts, different head of accounts are there. different branches also there, especially when you're asking infectious disease branch is totally different. Is one is one big department is there for that.
Okay.
Not they work not only in the hospitals, the entire community they will work. You, as you said, the budget allotment for the health department, if you can, it's very less in India.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. When we are getting the infections, when you are getting some diseases, then only we are going to the hospitals and we are getting another infection. We are in the private hospitals, they are paying much more money and hospital stay is also more.
Yes.
Before that, if you keep clean the hospitals, whether private or government, we can reduce the infection rate to a certain extent, I feel. And that product should be very friendly, eco-friendly, and that should be no harm should be there to the human beings and even kids and pets. I mean kids and no harm should be there. If you that type of disinfectant we need more.
Right.
And not only that, disinfectant means not only killing the organisms, but they should be in a position to treat us also to a certain extent. Because killing the organisms means treating the patient like that.
Yes. So, ma'am, you had mentioned about this formaldehyde, right? With respect to the disinfectants being used in operation theaters and ICUs. I had read that formaldehyde was banned in US in 1980s since it was carcinogenic. And then when we were discussing this with other places in Bangalore, and there were hospitals where we used to see that there are a lot of sodium hypochlorite based solutions being used, and there was this formaldehyde based solutions being used back in the days, even after it was banned. So definitely now people have to be more conscious about the products that they use. They shouldn't be using any carcinogenic product out there. So after getting to know all of the downsides of chemicals, there have also been recent advances in this antimicrobials, where the organic antimicrobials are coming in, and they are proven to have similar efficacy or even better efficacy. So what is your take on these recent advances in antimicrobials, which are, how would you compare a chemical versus an organic antimicrobial?
In the beginning, you told me that about the formaldehyde and all those things. No doubt, formaldehyde or any other chemical disinfectant, they kill the organisms to a certain extent, 90%, 92, 93%. Definitely they will kill. But along with that, they are harming the human beings also, which is not required. So making the environment clean and which is useful to the human beings, we need. That's as you said, it's an organic antimicrobials or something like that. We had to use it.
Right.
And recently, because of the COVID infection, that's why you are talking about other things. We can talk about the COVID.
Yes.
Entirely in the environment of in the ICUs and in the wards also. So they are giving the treatment to the patients to relieve the symptoms by giving the treatment and the ventilation also by giving the oxygen also. That the treatment it's going on. But unless you treat the environment, which is fully occupied by the virus in the ICU and in the other wards, where is the question of treating the patient? So instead of 3 days or 4 days, instead of staying 3 or 2 days, they are going to stay many days, and with no guarantee also they are coming out or not.
Yes.
When 100% protection is giving and no harm to a patient, to a person, by antimicrobial and natural organic antimicrobial is there, why not we invite those type of products? Definitely we need such type of products.
Yes. Right.
Not only that,
So you also, I want you to talk a bit about your further research in the field of antimicrobials. Regarding that, I read that you are also testing certain antimicrobials on human papilloma virus. So I want you to talk a bit about that.
Yeah. Can I talk it before starting anything? Is it correct or not? I don't know. That's my idea to talk about it, because one product I have come across, that is the Citrobios Shield. That's a natural organic antimicrobial. When I gone through the whole literature, I was surprised to see that many characters it has got. And when I saw the reports, when clinical trial reports or other toxicity reports or efficacy reports, I really shocked, because it was killing all the bacteria, virus and fungi and spores also. In the beginning, I very hard to believe it, too good to believe it. But when I started using this, wonderful relief I have seen in myself, in my family, and even my well-wishers, friends, and known people, and so many experiences I had, and so many stories I heard from all the people who are used. Really, I was very excited to share these things with others also, because this natural organic antimicrobial not only killing the organisms outside, I mean in the environment. They're killing in the environment, means in the air, on the surface also. Not only that, that's giving a very, relief from the symptoms of the COVID when the patient using that.
Yes.
That's a wonderful result I got from Citrobios Shield. And recently, 4 days back, one of my junior colleague, I was not here for 6 months. After coming from America, I started calling all the people, how are you? How we escaped from the COVID? Like that, I was asking. And one of my very close friend, and I like us very much, when I asked her, she said she lost her husband. And all of she and her son, they got affected. And some after 2 months again, she joined the job. And again, after a few days, I called her, how are you now? I asked. She said, again, I got the disease. Then I started talking about her. Because I wanted to protect you and your children. Without your husband, you are saying. Immediately you start this product. It is there nearby. I have given to my cousins. They are living away from her, 45 minutes drive. So I asked her immediately. She sent a driver and she got that. And she started spraying in the mouth, because I said the antimicrobial agent is very eco-friendly and it will not give any problem. As you said, it is not non-chemical, non-metal, non-formaldehyde, and non-mutagenic, non-carcinogenic, everything. So it's not a non-allergic and non-inflammable also. So I asked her to spray directly into the mouth. Because I know the nature of the corona. The route of entry is mouth, nose, and eyes.
Yes.
Sure. So don't even waste 1 day also, because I came to know that you are affected a second time.
Yes.
So don't waste it in single day. So immediately she got it within 2 hours. That she sent her driver and she got it. She started using, and her children also, 3 children. She's alone in the house. She started. To my surprise, within 3 days, I called her. Her voice was very strong, and her congestion was totally gone in the throat. And she was very confident. She said, Madam, I got relieved from the symptoms. Thank you very much, Madam. You are very supporting me, and I wanted these products, many more. So she told about this product to her neighbor, sister and her family. In that family also, they lost their father-in-law. So they started using this. And today, this only happened within 10 days, only 10 days back. So it is these type of stories I heard from almost 2,000-3,000 people.
My God.
Because when really, I don't mind even, I'm very bold enough to say about this. When I went to the government hospitals, they don't know anything about it. Of course, in the first phase, all of us are in the confusion state. Nobody knows about, because this is a new disease. They are in the confusion. They don't know what to do, what to listen. Because without asking anybody, they have started all hypochlorite tunnels.
Yes.
But
Yes.
when as a doctor, I went and I am trying to explain them, this is the ICMR guidelines, underwent clinical trials and all those things.
Yes.
They are not believing it. I wasted my time also because I wanted to protect at least my own fraternity people. They didn't listen. So I stopped going after the government. My motto is to protect the people. So whether they are the government patients or surrounding me, I started talking about this in the papers, in the TVs, in channels. And I have spread it like anything. I have given some 3,000 people. Not even a single person affected by this. That is a whole world I wanted to say about the Citrobacil. Yeah.
Thank
It's
you, ma'am.
like
It really means a lot when we see how much what we produce is giving is having such a huge impact, and getting to know such stories just help us propel forward, and
yes.
we would keep
And
doing this. Yes.
yeah, I can write a book only with the experiences stories.
Wow.
And this is how much safe, this one, even on the pets and kids also we can use. My daughter's daughter is 6 months old. When they are keeping in the States, when they are keeping her in the baby care center, they are just a whole body, they are, touching with this Citrobacil. They're spraying on her body. 6 months old baby.
Wow.
Nothing happened. And my son's daughter is 3 years old. Whenever they are going out, Papa, please spray me on my body, she's saying. So they are using since 6 months.
Wow.
So nothing happened, even a small baby of 6 months old, 3 years child. It is very safe. That me only the example. My father is 92 years old. So
Wow.
6 months to 92 years old, the entire age scale, if you take, the two extremities of the people in my house, we are using that.
First of all, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for choosing our product. Definitely, we believe that it has impacted a lot of people, and you just telling us these stories just gives us such a good satisfaction right now, that we would like to spread this product more, and to save more people's lives. Having said that, I want to conclude today's interview. Ma'am, thanks a lot for joining on the show. I really learned a lot of things over this conversation, ma'am.
And one more thing, I wanted to take the advantage of your meeting.
Sure, ma'am.
Being a doctor, being a gynecologist, I need not say cooked up stories. This is a really wonderful this thing, because no other medicine is there for corona. If one medicine is there, the side effects are also there.
Right.
If other medicine is there, so many side effects are there. But for this Citrobacil, if you are using daily, no side effects. But even black fungus or black, white, or so many fungus, all those things will be taken care by this. So before, during, and after the attack also, by the corona, we can use this Citrobacil. Sure. Even today also, somebody came to my house and to get that one, because I'm having that to help the people surrounding me.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your service. I really want to thank, because the kind of passion you have for what we do, and you being a torchbearer of, spreading this awareness about preventing, the spread of germs. And if we have a product which does that, I really want to thank you for doing that.